Okay, lesson 213. Let's do this. How steep is it? Comparing, how do you say that? The triangle. It is called delta y and delta x, but what does the triangle stand for? It stands for the word change in y and then change in x. In lesson 212, you use the dimensions of a sloped triangle to measure the steepness of a line. Today you will use the idea of stairs to understand slope even better. You will review the difference between positive and negative slopes and will draw a line when given the information about the change in x and the change in y. During the lesson, ask your teammates the following focus questions. Number 1, how can you tell if the slope is positive or negative? Number 2, what makes the line steeper? What makes the line less steep? And number 3, what does a line with a slope of 0 look like? We will address that in class tomorrow, okay? These are a little bit more challenging questions. So we are going to be doing some work here. Now you should hopefully have the resource page that I gave you yesterday/today. Otherwise, you do have access to print it out if you want to. It's just going to make things a whole lot easier, so it's a lot better to write with, okay? So problem 225, one way to think about slope or growth triangles is a stair step up on a line. So right here, you think of the stairs right on the picture there, okay? Picture yourself climbing or descending the stairs from left to right on each stair, or each of the lines on the graph shown below on the right. Of lines A, B, C, which is steepest, which is the least steep. So imagine you were climbing stairs, okay, right here. Here are the stairs. And we were looking at these lines right here. Now this question should be pretty straightforward. Question just says, looking at lines A, B, and C, which of those lines is the steepest? Which of those stairs would be the steepest? Well, what do you think? The steepest line, I'll write this down, this is problem 2.1.3, lesson 2.13 and problem 225. So the steepest line is what? It should be line B. Which one is the least steep? Is it A or is it C? Well, if you look at the stairs, look at these stairs right here. Woo. Okay, versus these stairs. Versus these stairs. Okay, the steepest would definitely be B. Imagine those steps right there. That'd be kind of crazy. I think the next one would be this one, and I think the least steep is this one here. So the least steep is line C. Okay, least steep is line C. So write that down, please. Have those notes. And again, that should be pretty straightforward. You're just thinking of steps. Now, letter B. Examine line D. What direction is it traveling from left to right? Now, here's the thing. As we're working on graphs, we always go left to right. They're kind to say left to right, but you need to know that. We always go left to right. Okay? So letter D, as you're going left to right, what would you be doing with these steps? You would be going down. Okay? What number should be used to represent change in y, the delta y, right here, this value right here? Okay? What would the change in y be? It would not be 2. Because 2 would imply, hey, I'm going like right here, 2. All right, like that. This would be negative 2. So if you're going down steps, and that's one of the hardest things to remember, if you're going down steps from left to right, it is going to be a negative change in y. All right? So your task now is to, on your worksheet, on your handout, that we talked about, this one right here, you're going to find the slope for each one of those lines. Now, they are kind enough to have some of the triangles already drawn for you. That's just very kind of you. So I'd like you to please pause the video and find the slope of all the lines. And on your paper, you're going to put the slope of, so slopes of line A, B, C. Okay, I think it was just A, B, C. Let's check here. A, B, C. Oh, of all lines. So you're going to find the slope of all 4 of those lines, please. A, B, C, and D. Got it? When you are done with those, please unpause the video. Okay, you paused the video? Did you really? Okay, I hope so. And you got it. Well, let's see. What'd you get for line A? For line A, if I do put the values here, I notice I'm going a run or a change in x of 1 and a rise of 1. So the slope there would be 1 over 1, or just 1. How about my slope for B? Well, my slope for B, every time I go over 1, I'm going up 3. So my slope should be 3 over 1, or just 3. For line C, I'm going over 2 and up 1. Over 2 and up 1. Now be careful with this one. Is it 1 over 2 or is it 2 over 1? Well, hopefully you remember it's change in y over change in x, so it should be 1 over 2. Well, just 1/2. Guys, fractions and slopes are actually a beautiful thing, okay? So don't freak out about it. But 1/2, what does that mean? If I just went over 1, I'd go up 1/2. Over 1, up 1/2. Or you could go over 2 and up 1. Same thing, okay? 1/2. And then line D. Line D. All right, here we go. See that? What is my change in y? It would be -2. My change in x would be 5. So it should be -2/5. Did you get those slopes correct? I hope you did. All right, let's move on and see what we got here. Letter D, how does the slope relate to the steepness of a graph? So how does a slope tell you about the steepness? And actually, we're going to combine that with letter E. Letter E, just listen, go ahead and we'll go with this. Cora answered part D with the statement, the steeper the line, the greater the slope number. The steeper the line, the greater the slope number. Do you agree? If so, use lines A through D to support her statement. If not, change your statement to make it correct. So let's go back to this. Let's see this. Oh, wrong ones. Sorry. There. Her statement was, the bigger the slope, the steeper the line. Do you agree with that or do you not? The bigger the slope, the steeper the line. Well, let's see. Line B has the biggest slope, doesn't it? Is it the steepest line? Yes, it is. Ooh, okay, then what about A and C? A and C. Well, A has the next biggest slope of 1, right? Is it the next steepest? It is. Well then, the next steepest slope would be this one, right? Is that the biggest number left? Yes, it would. So it does seem to hold true. So is that always true? Is the bigger the number, the steeper the line? Well, what do you think? What do you think happens with a negative slope? What about negative slope? Is the bigger the value, the steeper the line there too? What do you think? Well, be careful here, guys. If we were going to address this with negative, and I went with, let's go with a line like this, okay? And so my slope here, I'm going down 1 and over 2 and over 1. So it'd be -2 over 1. My slope there is -2 over 1 or -2. Compare that to this slope right here of -2/5. Now, ladies and gentlemen, what number is bigger? -2 or -2/5? The correct answer, the bigger number is -2/5, isn't it? Because remember, with negative numbers, the bigger the absolute value, the smaller the number is, okay? So like -100 is less than -2. So in this case, the steeper the line, the lower the number? Does that seem to be accurate? So it's kind of confusing to say that in positive, the bigger the number, the steeper the line. In negative, the smaller the number, the steeper the line. So is there a way that we could put that together to summarize that conclusion? Think about it, because I want you to address it and tell me tomorrow in class. How could you fix this statement to summarize that in positive numbers, the bigger the number, the steeper the line. But in negative numbers, the smaller the number, the steeper the line. Okay? And we'll talk about that some more if you're confused about this. Okay? We're going to move on to 26. Now, I'm going to start 26 with you. You're going to finish it. Okay? 226A. Which line is the steepest? Which is steeper? B or C? So let's look first. Which one's the steepest there? Is it A? Is it B? Is it C? Well, if you look really carefully, the steepest line would be A. A is steeper. Now, of course, you look at B and C and you're like, okay, really? You're asking me which one's steeper, B or C? Well, of course B is steeper, right? You can see it right here. This one's going here, C is going like that. So B is definitely steeper. The more challenging question is line A or line B steeper. And as you see, line A is a little bit steeper, okay? You are now going to draw slope triangles for A, B, C, D, and E. All right, there are five lines there, using the highlighted points on each line. Label, remember, change in y, or x, and change in y for each. Now, once you do that, You're going to match it to the slopes below. Now, there are 5 lines and there are how many slopes here? 8. So you're not going to necessarily use all of the lines or all the slopes. Well, you're not going to use all the slopes. So what I want you to do is I want you to analyze this. And again, you've got your worksheet there. So I want you to focus on, I'm going to do A with you. I'm going to make my slope triangle right there. My change in y is 2. My change in x is 1. So my slope, and I didn't put room here. My slope for line A is 2 over 1. So there's line A. You need to do B, C, D, and E. Careful, there are some tricky ones there. B, C, D, and E, and find the slope. And then you are going to, sorry, it's tipping twice. You're going to match it right here, okay, with these over here. And as you notice, the first one for A, I got 2. And then you're going to answer question D and E. And I will leave these up here in just a second. I do need to, of course, get to my comic. So I will have this comic right here. Here's my Foxtrot for today. So if you want to, you can pause the video now so you can read Foxtrot. And then I'm going to go back to the other. This one's hilarious. I love this Foxtrot. Okay, anyway, back to here. There's this. You should have it on your handout, and there are the questions. So please finish problem 226. For homework, I expect these questions done. It should take you just a couple minutes. Really, it shouldn't take that long. And we'll bring this up and talk about it tomorrow. So for tomorrow, finish 226 and answer the question of how you can summarize or simplify that statement about the steeper the line, the bigger the slope. Always. What about negative? Okay? All right. I will talk to you later. Have a good day.